It's time for another edition of Focus Forward here on Studio 3. My name is Jamie Salinas, the Executive Director of Forward Worthington. Of course, we are the Chamber of Commerce, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Worthington Regional Economic Development Corporation for Worthington and the surrounding area. This time, we are at the bus facility for District 518, right across from the fairgrounds, kind of tucked in a corner. You probably drive by the building all the time, but unless you're really paying attention to what the words on the side of the building, you're not really sure what you're passing by. Well, this is where all of the buses for District 518 hide, and I am talking here with Darla Fritz and Chris Kielblock with Bud's Bus Service, the current bus provider for District 518. We're going to talk about a lot of the great things happening here and learn much more about Bud's, and then we'll talk a little bit later on about what's coming up on the community calendar for the Chamber. So talking with you first here, Darla, this is a family business first and foremost. Tell us more about Bud's Bus Service.
Bud's Bus Service was started by my father-in-law and now currently is owned by my husband and my brother-in-law. And Chris and I are just the management here.
The one thing that kind of popped into my mind when we were prepping for it was contracts. I'm assuming, the different districts around the area will have different bus operators and such. So something similar to, like Bud's. How does an operator get these kind of contracts? This is a contract arrangement, I'm assuming, with the district, right?
That is correct. Yep. The district puts it out on bids. Basically, it gives the specs of what they need to service their school, and then we supply a bid to them, and it's based on, a 2 or a 4-year contract.
Do you ever have to go into kind of negotiations or anything like that? Like you submit your proposal, they're like, well, what about this? And you're like, well, how about this? And then does it kind of go back and forth sometimes?
It goes back and forth a little bit. Yep.
And how long has Bud's been the current bus operator for the District 518?
We've been here since 13, so this is our 11th year.
Wow, right on. Of course, you're going to be doing it for the foreseeable future, I'm sure.
Let's hope so.
Let's talk, Chris here, let's talk a little bit more about some of the equipment. We're, of course, standing in front of one of the fleet vehicles here, one of the buses here for Bud's Bus Service. Talk about how many buses, and of course there's vans too that are part of the fleet. About how many vehicles are we looking at for Bud's Bus Service?
We run about 30 school buses and 5 or 6 vans or smaller vehicles to service our routes.
Okay. For the routing, how many routes are there exactly?
Well, you can say we've got 25 school bus routes and then probably 5 or 6 van routes total.
And how does the routing work, really? Because, I mean, to us, the layman, the person off the street, this seems like an extremely chaotic kind of thing. But you guys know exactly what's kind of going on and who needs to go where and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right. Yeah, we know exactly. It's one of those kind of organized chaos events. Every time a bus moves, if in an ideal situation, yes, it's all mapped out to the T where they're supposed to go. Day by day, everything is different here. So we try to get everybody situated. Drivers, sometimes if there's street closures, we have to adjust. And if there's kids getting out of school late or somebody late getting back from a field trip, for example, or something we have to do some last minute switching, it always happens. No. So, yeah.
So how about the time ranges exactly? So, you talked about some of the more special stuff, like your field trips and stuff like that. But when we're talking about getting the kids to school, we're talking about getting the kids, back home, there's kind of 2 time ranges in a day, right?
There are. There's in the morning routes, they could range anywhere from 6:15 until about 8 o'clock for all the routes.
6:15 in the morning. You think kids actually wake up that early?
Well, whether they're awake or not, they have to. Some of them got to be at the bus stop by that time. So we're starting country routes as early as typically 6:30ish for out of town routes, and in town routes we're starting pickup shortly before 7. That's our morning shift, and then afternoon shift starts at 2:30, and some of them are done as early as 4ish, and then but our country routes, it's usually about 4:30.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
5 o'clock.
Same drivers for the most part that kind of operate in the morning and afternoon then?
Many of them, yeah. We do have some that only are able to work in the morning because this might not be their primary job, or some of them just available in the afternoon. But quite a few do morning and afternoon, and of course we like that and it's better for the kids, the consistency.
Sure. You know, you see the same driver in the morning, you see him in the same afternoon. It kind of builds out a little bit of a relationship here too.
Yep.
How about how many drivers are there really?
Oh, what do we have a staff? Just over 30. 30, yeah.
Just over 30. Okay. Okay. And Chris and I were kind of talking about this a little bit before we came on here. When you're a bus driver, there are certain driver's license things that you need to have taken care of beforehand.
There are, yes. To drive a yellow bus, you need a Class B CDL with a school bus endorsement and a passenger endorsement. And then if you're starting from scratch, I always encourage new trainees, applicants to go ahead and get their air brake endorsement also. Most all of our fleet is non-air brake related, but it does expand. You're going through the effort of getting your licensure anyway, so it does expand the opportunities for a driver who's holding a Class B CDL to potentially move over and do some work with our sister company, Reading Bus Line.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Some of the main differences between the school bus and a commercial. I know this is kind of off the cuff here. Aside from the air brake situation, kind of the same thing, would you say, except just different shape?
License-wise, it's the exact same. Anybody that's licensed to drive our school bus, if they have the air brake endorsement, can certainly drive a motor coach. There's, of course, the size difference, and it handles a little bit different because the wheelbase is different, and certainly handles a little bit differently on certain roads, wind conditions. Winter roads, it's all a little different, yeah. But same licensure.
Okay. And these buses here in this facility, at the very least, all service District 518, correct?
Correct. Yes, that's District 518 is the only district we service right now.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more about some of these buses here. As we were walking in, I noticed that there were a few different makes of school buses and stuff. How many are there exactly?
Three predominant ones in the U.S. There's Bluebird, International, and Thomas built. Those are the three main, and we run Bluebird and International.
Okay. Diesel. We were kind of talking a little bit like not all of them are diesel engines nowadays.
That's correct. Not everything is diesel. We've acquired some due to federal emissions testing and. Or tests, we've gotten some gas buses. I don't know what five or six gas buses. We mostly run those in town. They don't get as good as a mileage per gallon as the diesels do, but they certainly run well, and gas engines now are cleaner than they were 20 years ago, of course. So.
Typically, how long will you keep a bus in service before it's time to maybe start looking at a new one, or a different one at the very least?
Probably about 10, 12 years. Yep.
What would is that kind of? Are they all kind of the same? Do you kind of change it kind of all at the same time? Do some go at different times, or is there a time frame? I'm sure you keep track of how old all of them are and stuff like that, and the mileage and all that fun stuff. What kind of dictates, do you think?
Typically, we try to get one ordered a year, one new in a year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So.
And then we'll rotate them from maybe our country buses might be higher mileage. Of course, they add on more miles per day, so we might rearrange from year to year if we see one bus that's accruing more miles. Swapping them among different routes.
Sure. Okay. As far as the capacity goes, how many kids generally go on a bus at any given time? Or I suppose, what's the capacity? Like, how many, if we were to pack this thing, how many kids are going to fit in this thing? Legally, of course.
Legally, the capacity is marked on every bus is as 77. Some of them are as many as 83, 84. But that's taking into consideration essentially if you're having first graders, 3 to a seat. We have to account for more seat space as the kids get older. So it might be just rough numbers, might be just 50, 55 or so when you're looking at only high schoolers, for example.
Oh, okay.
So, but we have all our routes are mixed schools, mixed grades, mixed age levels at some point. So.
Drivers, we kind of talked about this a little bit before we came on. Always looking for them, right?
I'm always looking for one more driver. It doesn't. Yeah, the search doesn't end. And the great thing is that in recent year, they've made it a little bit easier where if somebody already has their CDL, they just don't have the school bus endorsement or the passenger endorsement. They don't have to go back and take all the tests that they've had to have taken even 20 years ago. So wasn't just a year ago or so that if somebody wanted to add a school bus endorsement, they would make them retake essentially the CDL general knowledge test. Oh, wow. And if they were going to run it with air brakes, make them take the air brake endorsement test also. So, but with the shortage that not only we're experiencing in the school bus field, everybody, it's really nationwide, and every contractor, every school district is always looking for school bus drivers. So the state has laxed those regulations here recently.
Well, if somebody were to call, they're watching this right now, it's like, you know what, I'd do the driving thing. I'd drive a bus, and they want to get more information. Or if maybe anybody, the general public, wanted to get some more information about what happens with bus service, and maybe they want to interview you on their own. What's the phone number and kind of the hours that folks are generally in the building?
372-5552 is our phone number, and we're here from 6 o'clock in the morning until after 5 a lot of days, Monday through Friday for sure. Yep.
All right. She's Darla. He's Chris. There with Bud's Bus Service. Remember, the next time you see him, even out in public, or maybe for some odd reason you find yourself here at the bus facility for District 518, when you pop into the office, make sure that you tell them that you saw them right here on Focus Forward here on Studio 3. Coming up next, we're going to talk about what's coming on the community calendar. Welcome back to Focus Forward here on Studio 3. My name is Jamie Salinas, Executive Director of Forward Worthington. Time to talk now about what's coming up on the community calendar. First up, coming up on November 15th and 16th, the Retail Committee of Forward Worthington is going to be hosting the holiday open houses, and this is kind of the kickoff of the holiday season here for Worthington and the Worthington area. Shop Worthington, and this will be your chance to shop those businesses and get those early gift ideas, or get your shopping done early. And a lot of the participating merchants will be offering special deals and that kind of thing. So make sure you put that on your calendar. Holiday open houses, November 15th and 16th. Starting about the same time, November 15th, the retail promotion Santa's Stash will make its triumphant return. This is where you get a card with 10 punches. For every $20 that you spend at a participating Worthington area merchant, you get a punch on that card. Once you fill out that card, you fill out your information on the back, you turn it into a participating merchant, and you will be entered into a drawing for weekly prizes. So Santa's Stash, again, that starts on November 15th and will go through Christmas Eve, December 24th as well. Another event going on during the holiday season, it is the Community Image Committee of Forward Worthington will have their event Tinsel and Tidings at the JBS Fieldhouse. That's going to be Friday night, December the 6th, from 5 until 7 o'clock. It'll be your chance to see Santa. Santa will be at the JBS Fieldhouse, and a chance for you to enjoy cookies and some fellowship over at the JBS Fieldhouse. That's December the 6th, 5 until 7 o'clock, Tinsel and Tidings at the JBS Fieldhouse. Also, later on in December, it is Worthington Wonderland, another promotion from the Retail Committee of Forward Worthington. December the 14th, that's a Saturday from 9 until 4 o'clock. Participating businesses around the Worthington area will have special promotions and special activities going on, and just look for that calendar, and we'll announce who's going to be a participating merchant and what sort of activity that they're going to be holding as well during Worthington Wonderland, Saturday, December 14th, and that's going to be from 9 until 4 p.m. That is going to do it for another episode of Focus Forward. Remember, if you or someone you know is interested in being a member of Forward Worthington, make sure that you have them give us a call, 507-372-2919. We provide all sorts of information and the benefits of becoming a member, or visit our office inside the JBS Fieldhouse, 700 2nd Avenue in Worthington, just outside of downtown Worthington. That's going to do it. My name is Jamie Salinas, Executive Director of Forward Worthington. We'll see you next time.